Hi, this is Darren from Property Prosperity. Today I thought I'd have a little chat about trust and why it's important when you're selling your house. I think what a lot of people don't really understand, they think it's the same, and they think it's regardless of who they use or what they do, they're going to end up with the same outcome, and it doesn't really matter. I think the important thing to understand is that for a lot of people they don't sell a property every day. They might sell their property. They might sell. Hey, Isaac, thanks for joining. They might sell a property once or twice in their lifetime, and so really you don't have a lot to go by as far as experience goes. Even buying a property, you don't have a lot of experience. People might buy one or two properties. I've been involved in thousands of property transactions, so I'm lucky to have learnt by trial and error and experience. And thanks for the like, I appreciate that. And then so I'm lucky just to have experience on my side. But for most people, it's really hard to do that. And to be honest, there's a lot of complications with selling a property. There's a lot of complications with buying a property, and all the other. There's a lot of unknown terms or uncertainty involved in the process. So that's obviously where most people get an agent to come and help them out with the process. Saying that, you don't really know what your agent's doing. You hope they're out there trying to sell your house, and you hope they're making all the phone calls, and you hope they're wheeling and dealing, trying to get the best deal for you. But at the end of the day, you can't watch them 24/7. You don't really know what they, and to be honest, you probably don't even know what they do anyway. And that's where the perception comes in that agents get paid a lot of money for what they do because they're getting paid 10, 15, 20 grand to sell a house, and it looks like all they do is hand out a few flyers and sign a contract. You're like, well, that's nuts. Why is that person getting paid so much money when they're not really doing anything? So I suppose what you really need to do, you have to really find an agent that you really trust, and you find an agent that you think creates value and is going to add value to the sale of your property. And if they're not, the value they're creating to the process is not more than what they cost you as far as their commission or fees and charges or whatever, then you really got to question, why am I using this agent? Is because at the end of the day, you can sell a house yourself. You don't need an agent. You can put a sign out the front and hand out a few flyers and then have an open inspection. It's not rocket science. If someone can do a 6-week course and they're an expert and they want to get paid 10, 15, 20 grand, then why can't you do the same thing? So the question then is, if I can just do it myself and I want to get an agent to do it. So if you're weighing up whether you get an agent to do it, I suppose the first thing is the time factor. Do you have the time? And then you're weighing that back to an hourly rate. How many hours is it going to take you to sell this house? If you're getting paid $30 an hour or $50 an hour, $100 an hour, how many hours is it going to take me? Is that going to be cheaper than, maybe I could just have a week off work and sell the property myself? So then the next question is, okay, well, maybe I do, or maybe I don't have the time, but is this agent going to create extra value and they're going to sell the house for more than if I'd tried to sell it myself? And then if the answer is yes, then then you just got to rely on the fact that are the agents going to do what they say they're going to do? Because to be honest, you can't watch them 24 hours a day. You don't really know what they're doing. So that's where the whole trust factor gets involved. And the trust factor is important not just for you selling the house, but also for people buying the house. And this is what. Hey, Gregory, thanks for joining. This is one of the things I didn't, until I started selling a lot of houses, I didn't even realize how important trust is as far as selling the house as well. I've just found the way I sell houses, I try to give people as much information as possible. And I've just found the more information I give to people and the more open and honest I am, then the more likely I am to offer a fair price. So I suppose, unfortunately for real estate agents, we have a pretty negative perception of our industry, or not we, but the market has a pretty negative perception of our industry, and they think we're out there trying to scam them and trying to rip them off. So they have this perception that the house is overpriced and the agent's asking too much, and they should always offer less. The benefit of an agent being upfront and honest and transparent with the way they communicate with people is that people feel a lot more trustworthy of that agent, and they feel like, well, he's got nothing to hide. It looks like quite a nice house. I can't see anything on the downside, and if there is any downside, they've pointed out those issues and how to overcome them. So, maybe it is a fair price. Maybe I should be offering the asking price or more. And so you find if people don't have that uncertainty and fear associated with buying, they're probably more likely to offer a fair price. Whereas when they're concerned and they're fearful of, they're getting scammed, then quite often, even if it does look like a fair price, they'll underprice it. Their offer will come in less than the asking price just because they're just worried they're going to get it scammed. And so they want to put in a low price just in case. Whereas I've just found, the more trust they have with you as the agent, the more likely they are to offer a fair price. You can sit down and go through all the good points and all the bad points, and they can understand the owner's viewpoint and why they believe it's worth a certain value, and they're more likely to offer a fair price if you can just be upfront and honest with people. So The other thing to bear in mind, this is not just applies to the agent as far as selling and buying and for people buying the property, but everyone involved in the transaction of selling a property. So I don't know if you know, but there's someone called a conveyancer involved in doing the legal documentation. To be honest, you have no idea whether it's, all the legal documents are all correct or not. You can be a lawyer and try and sit and work it all out. You can try and read through it all, but there's so much. You sign a contract which gives you the price you're going to pay and when you're going to pay it and any terms and conditions. But that's only the start of it. Basically, after that, you get something called a Form 1 document. Form 1 document goes off and goes out to all the interested parties. The council, the SA Water, the heritage people, could be anybody basically. All these different people that might be interested in your property, they come back with all the information about the property, and that's provided to the purchaser as information, anything they need to know about the property before they buy it. That might be 50, 60 pages of information. Most of it won't apply to their property. But by getting that information, it just makes them more informed than they otherwise would be. The crazy thing is, by giving them so much information, they end up more confused and less informed sometimes. And so it ends up then what you're relying on is your conveyancer doing the right thing by you. So the owner has a conveyancer and the purchaser has a conveyancer. They both act on their behalf. They go through all the paperwork, make sure everything's all correct. And then, to be honest, you really just have to trust your conveyancer. I generally advise my clients, you can go through and read it and try and understand it. In theory, it's meant to be in plain English and should be able to understand it. But a lot of it's jargony and it doesn't necessarily make sense to everybody, and you probably end up more confused than you started. So just like everything, just find a conveyancer you really trust. Your conveyancer's doing this every day of the week, and if they say it's all okay, then you really have to, at some point, you have to trust somebody. So so you can see now, hopefully, why trust is really important when you're selling a house, because obviously the agent has a big control over the process, not just for you as the owner, but also for the buyer and the price they're more likely to pay. And also when you get other parties involved, such as a conveyancer, it's really important to trust them and trust they're doing the right thing. And at some point in time, you're just going to have to trust people and just hope that people are going to do the right thing. So, you can determine that firstly by a referral from other friends or family or other people you know. But really you just have to go on gut feel and who you feel confident with. So hopefully that's made sense, guys. If that's made sense, then feel free to click on the like button. If it hasn't, then still click on the like button anyway. If you would like me to talk about something else in the future, then feel free to put a comment in the comment box, or if you think someone might find this useful, then click on the share button. I'm sure they might find it interesting. So thanks for joining, and if there's anything I can do for you, feel free to send me a message. Have a good day. Bye.